Okay, so this is the subject of linguistics. It is a major subject to study at a Master of English and Education at Northern University. And the professor is Ms. Behara. So let's go to our content. Chapter 1, Meaning of Language and Linguistics. We study about the definition and characteristics of language, definition, nature and scope of linguistics, linguistic levels and types of linguistics. So, what is language? Language is commonly defined as a means of communication, but if it is defined so, there will be no difference between human communication and animal communication. The reason is because both human and animal do have means to communicate. To be more specific, to be more scientific, a language can be defined as an arbitrary system of creative vocal symbols used as a means of communication among human beings. What is language? An explanation. So we explain what the language is. Okay, so that let's go. Language is a system. Firstly, language is a system. Elements of language are combined according to rules, like I, B, L, K, and bin, he, rounded hairs are unacceptable. Language is arbitrary. Secondly, a language is arbitrary because the relationship between the symbol, form, and the entity, the meaning, cannot be proved logically. There is no intrinsic connection between the word pen and the thing we use to write with. Different languages have different words for the same object. What is language? Yeah, again we go on. Language is vocal. Thirdly, language is originally spoken. It is vocal symbols, because the primary medium is sound for all languages, no matter how well developed their writing systems are. All evidence points to the fact that writing systems came into being much later than the spoken forms. So see the fact, like the children grow up learning and speaking a language orally before learning to write. Even in this modern age, some people still cannot write, but they can communicate with a language. And language is creative. No matter how well a dictionary or language is designed or written, it will never contain all possible sentences that a human being can make and use for communication. Words can be used in new ways to mean new things and can be instantly understood by people who have never come across that usage before. Like, okay, this is the cat that killed the rat that ate the mold that lay in the house that Jack built. Language is a means of communication. Language is one among another means of communication, but it is the most perfect means of communication proposed by human beings. That makes humans different from animal communication. Interpersonal communication. It is related to sending and receiving information between two or more people through verbal or non-verbal messages. Interpersonal communication occurs in the mind of the individual in a model which contains a sender and receiver. So let's go to the definition of language. So how it is defined. language is purely human and non-instinctive method of communicating ideas, emotions, and desires by means of voluntarily produced symbols. Language is a system of arbitrary vocal symbols which permit all people in a given culture or other people who have learned the system of that culture to communicate or to interact. The generally accepted definition is that language is a system of arbitrary vocal symbols used for human communication. So these are the things that we can regard the language as. Okay, so the language, okay, is a skill. Okay, a skill. A skill is something we do. For example, he speaks well but writes badly. So language is a skill. Okay, and language is knowledge, something we know. I don't know much Italian. Okay, it is about knowledge. Okay, yeah, I don't know much Italian. Language is knowledge. An event, an event is something which happens. Example, I was in the office when the conversation took place. Yeah, so when the conversation took place, so they use the language. So the language here is in the context or in the event of in the room, in the office. Okay, it is an event. Okay. Another point is language is group identity. Yeah, it is something which transmits culture. Like it is, it is only through our language that we can truly express our identity. Okay. So our personal information or personal identity, who we are, is identified by language when you are among a group of people or an association. So language is a group identity. Possession. Language is a possession as well. It is yes, possession is something we possess or something we have. For example, I haven't much French. Okay, I haven't much French. Okay, and language is a tool. A tool is something we use. Like, for example, what words can I use to describe her? I want to describe a beautiful girl, so I can say, oh, she is beautiful. She is cute. She is tall. She has got long hair. She has got black eye, or like that. Okay. So language is a tool. So what language, what words, what expression, what vocabulary do we use to describe or to tell about something? Okay. And language is an object. It is something which we can describe. Like the language as a complex structure. Like you are learning about the grammar of a language, we are learning about the sentence structure. Okay, we learn about the origin of the language. So it is an object. Okay, I mean something which we can describe. So language is a living organism as well. We can regard it as a living organism. Just like when you are born, yeah, you are born and you grow up, and then you get old, and then you die. Okay, so language is a living organism. We can compare to this. Okay. So something which is born, lives, and dies. Okay, so like gradually, a new language was born. Okay, since the old time, yeah, the past time, and now look at the 18th century. It is we can see flowering of the language. I mean the language has grown up. I mean it is developed. Yeah, it has been found or improved by human being on Earth. So it is a living organism as well in this case. And there's that language. Okay. The language also dies. Okay. Yeah, there are dying language every year these days. Yeah. So these are the characteristics of language. Okay. Let's go on to another one. So now we'll learn more about languages. There are around 7,000 languages in the world right now, and linguists have discovered that these languages are more alike than different from each other. Okay. There are there are thousands of languages, but most of them are alike. I mean, they are in a group, and that group is called mother. Okay, and a subgroup is called daughter, and another subgroup is called sisters as well. Okay, for example, like the Latin language, we have French, we have Italian, we have Spanish, we have Portuguese, and so Italian is a mother tongue. Yeah, it is a mother language. And French and Italian and Spanish and Portuguese is the daughters. Okay, they are the daughters. And those like the Spanish and the Portuguese also have their sisters. Yeah, and continue on. Yeah. So let's go to the distribution of the world's languages. We divide the language in parts of the world, like in Europe, in North America, in South America, in Africa. In Pacific, also include Australia, and in Asia. Okay, so we also talk about the approximate number of languages for each region of the world as well, and we also talk about the percentage of the world's languages. So that, like in Europe, the approximate number of languages is 225 languages in Europe. And it accounts for 3% of the world's whole languages. And in North America and South America altogether, there are 1,000 languages approximately. Okay? And it accounts for 15% of the world's whole languages. And for Africa, there are 2,011 approximately estimated languages. So it accounts for about 30% of the world's languages. And in the Pacific, include Australia as well. We have 1,302 approximate estimated languages, and it accounts for 19% of the world's languages. And in Asia, there are 2,165 approximately languages, and it accounts for 32% of the world's languages. Okay, so in here we can see that in Asia there are more languages approximate than the other areas of the world. Okay, so let's go to another point. We talk about the use of linguistics. Yeah, so the linguistics. And why should we call the thing we sit on chair? Can't we call chair table, and table we call chair? I mean, we exchange. Okay. And how is it that children don't seem to make a big effort in learning their first language, while adults work very hard to learn L2, I mean a foreign language? Okay. We can talk about yesterday and last year, why cats and dogs never seem to make noises about their past experience. Do we think we can think as clearly without languages with language? Okay. For language student and for teacher of foreign languages and for teacher, for a researcher. So this question for those. Okay. And let's go. What is linguistics? So the word linguistics has been derived from the Latin words lingua, I mean the tongue, and istics, the knowledge and science. Etymologically, therefore, linguistics can be defined as the scientific or systematic study of language. It is a science in the sense that it scientifically studies the rules, systems, and principles of human languages. It also includes exploration into the nature of language variation, etc., like the dialects, language change over time, how language is processed and stored in the brain, and how it is acquired by young children. Important distinction in linguistics. So try to differentiate the distinction, okay? The characteristics that are different from each other. So we talk about synchronic versus diachronic. Yeah, diachronic. The language can be studied at a given time or over time. When we study language at one particular time or at some point of time in history, it is called synchronic linguistics. When we study language developments through time, it is called diachronic or historical linguistics. Synchronic linguistics focuses on the state of language at any point in history, while the diachronic linguistics focuses on the differences in two or more than two states of language over decades or centuries. So here we talk about the core branches of linguistics. So linguistics, okay. We talk about the language, right? And in language, so what are the components to think of in language? So we have the sounds of the language, we have the words of the language, we have the sentences, we have the meaning. Okay, so what are those called in terminology? Okay, and the sound, what is it called? So the sound is the phonetics and phonology. So this is the study that we need to study about the sound. And for words, so how do we study the word? Okay, so the study of the word is morphology. And sentences, when we study the sentences, so this means we talk about the syntax, okay, and the meaning, semantics and pragmatics. So let's go and learn about the scope of linguistics. The rules of language, also called grammar, are learned as one acquires a language. These rules include phonology, the sound system, morphology, the structure of words, syntax, the combination of words into sentences, semantics, the way in which sounds and meanings are related, and the lexicon or the mental dictionary of words. Linguistics can be categorized into micro-linguistics and macro-linguistics. Micro and macro-linguistics. Micro-linguistics, it is a small-scale observation with narrower view concerning internal view of language itself. I mean, we just talk about the structure of language systems without being related to other sciences or how to apply it in daily life. According to micro-linguistics, languages should be analyzed for their own sake and without reference to their social function, to the manner in which they are acquired by children, to the psychological mechanisms and underlie the production and reception of speech, to the literary and the aesthetic or communicative function of language, and so on. Microlinguistics. So microlinguistics include, like we have talked so far, we talk about phonology, okay, phonology, morphology, okay, morphology, and syntax, and semantics, and pragmatics. Okay. Then, phonology, we talk about the sound, and morphology, we talk about the word, and syntax, we talk about the sentence level, and semantics and pragmatics, we talk about the meaning of the language. Okay. So these are the layer of the language, okay, about the micro-linguistic. Like the phonetics, okay, phonetics first, and then we have what? Phonology, we have morphology, syntax, okay, we have semantics and pragmatics. Okay. Okay. And the speech sound. Okay. Let me see for clearly. We have morphemes. We have the words, phrases, and sentences, literal meaning of phrases and sentences, meaning in context of discourse. Okay, we still go on to micro-linguistics. So, phonetics, it is the scientific study of speech sounds. It studies how speech sounds are articulated, transmitted, or received. Phonology, it is the study of how speech sounds function in a language. It studies the ways speech sounds are organized. It can be seen as the functional phonetics of a particular language. Morphology, it is the study of the formation of words. It is a branch of linguistics which breaks words into morphemes. It can be considered as the grammar of words, as syntax is the grammar of sentences. Syntax deals with the combination of words into phrases, clauses, and sentences. It is the grammar of sentence construction. Semantics is a branch of linguistics which is concerned with the study of meaning in all its formal aspects. Words have several types of meaning. Pragmatics, it can be defined as the study of language in use in context. It deals with how speakers use language in ways which cannot be predicted from linguistic knowledge alone, and how hearers arrive at the intended meaning of the speaker. Now let's go and talk about the macro linguistics here. In contrast, macrolinguistics is the study of language on a large scale. With the broadest view that embraces all aspects of language, it is concerned with external view of language related to other sciences and how to apply it in daily life. Various areas within microlinguistics have been given terminological recognition. Macrolinguistics peripheral branches includes, so we have many types of macrolinguistics. Those are the first sociolinguistics. I mean the language and society and the society study together. Okay, and psycholinguistics. Okay, language and psychology. And neurolinguistics, language and neurology. Okay, and cognitive linguistics, it is the language and cognition. And computational linguistics, the language with computer. And stylistics, discourse analysis, applied linguistics. Okay. So micro and macro linguistics, here is the summary. Okay. So we have the main branches of linguistics lie. Now we talk about the phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, and pragmatics. So these are the micro-linguistics. And we have macro-linguistics. We have psycholinguistics, sociolinguistics, and political linguistics, and computational linguistics as well. Let's go on. So let's talk about sociolinguistics. Sociolinguistics studies the relations between language and society, how social factors influence the structure and use of language. Psycholinguistics, it is the study of language and mind, the mental structures and processes which are involved in the acquisition, comprehension, and production of language. Neurolinguistics, it is the study of language processing and language representation in the brain. It typically studies the disturbances of language comprehension and production caused by the damage of certain areas of the brain. Discourse analysis or text linguistics, It is the study of the relationship between language and the context in which language is used. It deals with how sentences in spoken and written language form larger, meaningful units. Computational linguistics is an approach to linguistics which employs mathematical techniques, often with the help of computer. Applied linguistics, it is primarily concerned with the application of linguistic theories, methods, and findings to the integration of language problems which have arisen in other areas of experience. Cognitive linguistics is an approach to the analysis of natural language that focuses on language as an instrument for organizing, processing, and conveying information. Stylistics is a study of how literary effects can be related to linguistic features. It usually refers to the study of written language, including literary text, but it also investigates spoken language sometimes. Okay, so these are the questions before you leave, before we finish. You should consider in mind and try to explore the answer by yourself. So we have some questions like, give complete definitions of language and linguistics. So what are language and what are linguistics? Okay, and what is the difference between micro-linguistics and macro-linguistics? Okay, yeah, they are different, right? And what is the difference between diachronic and synchronic linguistics? Okay. And what are the areas or branches of linguistics? Okay. And explain the core areas in linguistics. Okay, thank you for your attention. Right. And see you later in the next video. I hope you enjoyed the video and subscribe if you like it, right? Thank you.